Very interesting turn of events. James Cameron has chimed in on Hollywood shake-up, i.e. Warner Brothers being purchased by another studio. Wasn't expecting him to say anything, to be fair. I wasn't something I was expecting to happen, but he's come in and basically given his endorsement of David Ellison of Skydance, which makes sense. He has worked with him, you know. Terminator Dark Fate, I'm looking at you, boy. Also, I think Terminator Genisys. Yeah. Not great. But anyway, he has worked with him. Oh, I don't know. He was behind Top Gun Maverick as well. David Ellison, right? Skydance was behind Top Gun Maverick. So David Ellison actually has done good things, to be fair. Like, I'm giving him a bit of stick because of the Terminator stuff. But they've done good stuff, right? I just wasn't expecting James Cameron to chime in and say any of this. And literally came out and said, yeah, Netflix would be a disaster. Worth taking a look at, right? When one of the mainstays of Hollywood that has been keeping, well, I mean, his movies have in effect been keeping Disney afloat by way of Avatar. They effectively boost all of the profits that Disney has made throughout the year and kind of levels out their accounting. So when someone that does that jumps in and says, you probably want to take notice of it and report on it, I think. So let's take a look, shall we? As the future of Warner Brothers hangs in the balance, which is true, the deadline for the bids was on 5 days ago, the 20th. So it is hanging in the balance right now. And there's some weird reports. There are some weird reports that Trump wants David Ellison to buy it and will back the bid in exchange for more Rush Hour movies. Like, he's leveraging his support so he can get a new Rush Hour movie, supposedly, which sounds mental, but okay. But anyway, James Cameron has weighed in with unusually sharp clarity, and his comments leave no mystery about where he stands when it comes to Warner Brothers, Paramount, and Netflix. So in a new conversation with the Town's Matt Belloni, Cameron dismissed the idea of a Netflix acquisition outright, calling the streamer's approach to theatrical filmmaking fundamentally incompatible with the needs of a major studio. His remarks arrive at a time when Paramount's David Ellison is believed to be one of the leading bidders for the company. I don't know quite how Netflix's theatrical model is that bad. Some of it's bad. Not all of it is bad. The window needs to be longer, but if they just change some little bits and pieces, it'd be fine. They have supposedly strong-armed IMAX into accepting their Narnia stuff. Well, yeah. So like an IMAX exclusive, which is dumb, but okay. Anyway, so Cameron's comments touch both on Warner Brothers' future and long-standing industry tensions over streaming. The remarks have quickly drawn attention from industry insiders, especially his blunt assessment of Netflix's theatrical model. And throughout his discussion, Cameron directly and indirectly claimed that the theatrical experience should remain central to the future of a legacy studio like Warner Brothers, which I agree with. I never subscribe to the belief, and there's plenty of videos where I talk about this, of the streaming future. I never subscribed to that. I never thought that was a viable future for any Hollywood film studio. I just didn't think it was possible. You can't keep pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into these movies and then just releasing them on streaming. There's a cap on that market. Now, Netflix is different. You know, they have the majority market share, so they can pour money into movies. But something like Warner Brothers can't. They just can't. They don't have that option. Even Disney is unable to do that now. They've realised that that's a losing game. You just can't generate the profits that you could if you were to release something in theatres. So he just came out and said this: Netflix would be a disaster, direct quote. Sorry, Ted, to Ted Sarandos, but geez, Sarandos has gone on the record saying theatrical films are dead. Theatrical is dead, quote unquote. So Cameron went further, criticising the streamer's well-known strategy of placing films in theatres for only a week or so in order to gain Oscar eligibility, a practice many in Hollywood have long viewed as a workaround rather than a genuine theatrical commitment, which is true. So Baloney pointed out that Netflix has stated it will still release Warner Brothers films in theatres if they manage to snag the studio. Cameron dismissed the claim outright and said it's sucker bait. We'll put the movie out for a week or 10 days. We'll qualify for Oscar consideration. See, I think that's fundamentally rotten to the core. A movie should be made as a movie for theatrical, and the Academy Awards mean nothing to me if they don't mean theatrical. I think they've been co-opted, and I think it's horrific. We didn't say anything about all the woke nonsense. But alright. He argued that if the streamer truly wanted to compete at the Oscars, its films would require a real box office exposure. They should be allowed to compete if they put the movie out for a meaningful release in 2,000 theatres for a month. So that, well, I mean, he didn't mince his words, did he? Straight down the line. So, turn to David Ellison, the head of Skydance and one of the leading contenders in the Warner Brothers sale process. Cameron had nothing but praise. The two previously collaborated on Terminator Dark Fate, a partnership Cameron has spoken highly of in past interviews, which is pure retardation, but alright. When asked about Ellison's Paramount purchasing Warner Brothers, Cameron offered a clear endorsement. I think he's the best possible choice. Just straight up, like, I think he's the best. I mean, he's pretty good. Is he the best possible choice? I don't know. He's the least... I mean, he is the least woke. Which isn't saying much, but okay. So Cameron's perspective aligns with the general view across Hollywood that Warner Brothers, a studio built on theatrical tentpoles and generational franchises, requires stable, cinema-centered leadership moving forwards, which is true. And as this article notes, why does his opinion matter? Well, it does matter. Regardless of what I think of Blue Smurf's, Electric Boogaloo movies, it doesn't matter. They make $1 bazillion, and so they're well loved. So it doesn't matter what I think of them. People flock to what James Cameron creates because he creates what creates mass appeal, and so it matters. They are the highest grossing films in history. You can't argue with someone's. You just can't argue with someone's take, right? Whether what he's making is slop or not. Like McDonald's, for instance, has a massive market share of the food industry. I mean, it is arguably slop and dog shit. Right, it's bad for you. But you would still want to listen to what they have to say when it comes to how the industry should moving forwards, because they're a big player within it, if not one of the biggest. So it is important, actually. So there you go. There's not much else really to say here. It's just an interesting thing. I wasn't expecting them to jump in and say this. So it's worthwhile checking out. Leave your thoughts down below, though, guys. Take care. Bye-bye now.